SBR Forum's Punters is brought to you by Bookmaker.
We are previewing Week 8 in college football here at SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, and we're talking with returning guest Jeff Grant, sports betting writer for the Bleacher Report. Jeff, thanks for being with us once again.
Great to be with you, Peter.
All right, as always, I assign you the toughies. I assign you the tough games, but you've done pretty well with them. You've hung tough, and you've given us some good advice on these games. The first one we're going to talk about, South Carolina at Florida. Marquee SEC matchup. Florida's a 3-point home fave. Of course, South Carolina's off a tough, close loss to LSU on the road last week, and Florida got a very impressive and gutty win and cover against Vanderbilt last week on the road. So, my lean on this game, maybe it's just because I got burned really badly betting Vanderbilt last week, but I'm thinking Florida -3 at home is the play here. South Carolina, Marcus Lattimore did not do very well against LSU last week, even though they were able to keep it close. Jeff Driscoll's looking great at quarterback. He's very mobile for Florida. They're getting a bunch of starters back. They are at home. Putting it all together, I'm not sure South Carolina can give, a maximum effort 2 weeks in a row. Florida has the advantage. I like Florida -3. What do you think?
I think Florida has the opportunity to jump on South Carolina, unlike it hasn't done in the past against any of their opponents. On the SBR Forum radio show that I do on Thursdays that cover all the college football games, I gave a suggestion of playing Vanderbilt in the first half, and then Florida went on and won that game in the second half, but didn't cover the first half. I say that they have an opportunity of jumping on South Carolina here because the Gamecocks were just physically beaten in Baton Rouge on Saturday night. Yeah. They're outgained by double the amount of yards that they gained in comparison to LSU. And when you play LSU, it's much like playing the Pittsburgh Steelers of old. Yeah. When they're running the football, now they're more of a pass mentality for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But when you play a physical team like LSU is, and then you have to go back on the road for a second week, I don't think their defense is going to be able to match that intensity, but I think their offense is going to be able to make some plays. I mentioned in our preview when we took South Carolina last week that my only real hindrance, even though that we cashed that play, my only hindrance was Connor Shaw's ability to make plays in the passing game. He wasn't able to do that and extend drives last week. This is a very important game for Steve Spurrier going back to the Swamp. He's already beaten them once this year. That was the only time that South Carolina's beaten Florida at the Swamp in school history. I think he's going to have the opportunity to coach up Connor Shaw. And another big factor, this is not a night game. SEC night games for road teams are killers.
Right.
It's a day game. So I think Connor Shaw and that offense is going to have a little more success. So instead of playing the side, I'm looking at going over the total.
But you don't think, you talk about how it's so tough when teams play LSU. They come out beaten and battered. And so usually those teams would be a good bet against in their next games. But you don't think that applies here? I'm thinking that, by the way, I do mildly agree with you on the total. But I'm thinking there's a little part of my brain, I'll say about a quarter of my brain, that's thinking Florida -3 is just a great bet here. But you wouldn't go that far?
I'm not ready to lay points on the Florida Gators in a big SEC game. Without Urban Meyer. Will Muschamp has not won a game like this as a head coach. If you're a bettor, I wouldn't be looking to lay points. They haven't won a big game as a favorite under Will Muschamp's direction. I'm not about to do it when you have a team that, I don't think they're going to be as good defensively as they normally would be, in that South Carolina. But their head coach, that factor of Steve Spurrier going back to where he kind of made his mark will motivate this team enough to I think they're not going to get blown out. So I think they're going to trade points in this one, and that's why I like the over. And I also think that the odds maker sent out a very interesting number at 44. Just visually, that looks like you should bet the under, and people have taken the bait. But now it's held steady at a key number of 42, and it's even gone up a bit from that. So that's why I like the over even more in this game.
All right, good points, Jeff. Thanks.